I do think that it's really important to understand that the specter over career navigation um, and over our post-secondary and workforce systems really is kind of pervasive and structural discrimination, right? And I think we have to start there first because it's really important for us to know that Black completers, people who have completed credentials and have kind of in-demand skills, are still not able to leverage those skills in comparison to their white peers with kind of identical credentials. And you see that at all levels of education. So while it's really important to know that earnings do rise with increased attainment, right? And so joblessness decreases and earnings increase with attainment, right? But when you look at kind of the data, there's a discrepancy. Like if you're Black and you earn a bachelor's degree, you don't earn as much as a white person who earns that same bachelor's degree, right? And that same with associates on down to kind of high school. And so I think that, before we jump into kind of career navigation, we have to just name that structural discrimination is preventing, in structural discrimination in the labor market is preventing Black people with the credentials and skills that we say they need to be successful. It's preventing them from fully leveraging them at the same rate that their white peers leverage them. So that's one. The other part of the problem, though, is that Black learners and workers are disproportionately, again, like I said, more likely when they're in post-secondary to not be in the programs that are associated with high wages. So if we think about career navigation, how do we begin to disrupt that? So I've been talking about career navigation as if it was a thing, and I'm not sure it's a thing yet, right? Like, when we talk about career navigation in our post-secondary and kind of training system, often we're talking about kind of the advising and counseling function. But I think that as we think about what's needed for career navigation and the complexity of our post-secondary systems and the labor market, I think we need to invent, right? There's still work that has to be done to create career navigation systems that are, kind of up to the challenge that learners and workers face, making smart choices about their post-secondary and training options, and also transitioning to the labor market. So, as I think about how we perform now, kind of trying to provide that guidance, if you think about, high school, counselors, they might be giving a learner guidance, right? But that learner might also be getting kind of information and about their post-secondary options from a community-based organization that's providing support to that learner and their family. They might be getting counsel from yet another group, maybe someone from church, right, is giving them counseling advice, maybe family members, right? So they're getting all this different advice from different sources, but some of it may be helpful and some of it may be even in conflict. But what's missing there is there's not kind of a coherent system, right, where we are providing that learner kind of connected supports to help them not just kind of navigate kind of the choices that they have to make in terms of their, kind of the supply side, right? So in terms of kind of their program of study, but also they need supports around how to maybe finance their education, right? Are there learn and earn models that might be helpful to them as they go into kind of post-secondary and training? Kind of what are their options for short-term versus long-term, and are there wraparound supports that can support their learning journey? So, for example, are they connected to childcare services, transportation services? So I think a career navigation system could be bringing together, kind of many things that I think are not connected today that need to be connected to kind of address some of the challenges that learners and workers face as they try to navigate the many of the thousands of options that are in front of them as they think through kind of their choices for kind of post-secondary in training and then transition to work. So the other thing I think I would add is that, you know, part of, I think, the challenge of building kind of next generation career navigation systems is that, you know, it gets back to kind of our silos, right? And not being connected across those silos. So, you know, a lot needs to happen in post-secondary, a lot needs to happen before post-secondary for learners to be able to choose among all the different options in front of them, right? If certain, you know, kind of preparation isn't in place, I think it precludes some programs of study go right off the table. To be frank, but you know, kind of post-secondary is not really connected, you know, kind of to kind of the high school to college transition piece. And as young people, as learners are making decisions, right, they're all the choice points that they're trying to navigate. It's really disconnected from kind of the post-secondary system, which they'll kind of encounter later. And so I think as we think about designing kind of career navigation systems that can support, you know, kind of days learners and workers, how do we think about kind of really coming through those silos, right, to make very intentional connections across, you know, kind of sectors, but also when I say sectors, not just kind of secondary and post-secondary and workforce, but also kind of CBOs and the support services piece. You know, how do we bring all of that together? Employers, right? Like, and I think that that's the opportunity for kind of next generation career services. Thank you.